Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. In 1959, the last Emperor Puyi was finally granted amnesty by the government. Since then, his life underwent significant changes, and he began a completely new chapter. Puyi often visited the Forbidden City, as it was once his home and the place where he grew up. A place he knew intimately. Every time he entered the palace, he would talk endlessly about the old times. As if time had reversed and he had returned to the days when he was still the emperor. However, on one occasion, while visiting the Forbidden City, Puyi encountered an elder. When he recognized the identity of the person, he was shocked and even a little panicked. What exactly happened? What story lies behind this encounter? Let us take a closer look at this part of history. In 1908, Puyi was only 3 years old. According to the succession system of the time, the young Puyi was not qualified to become emperor. However, after the death of Emperor Guangxu, Empress Dowager Cixi found herself without a suitable successor to control. So she decided to bring Puyi into the palace and make him emperor. Initially, Empress Dowager Cixi planned to control the political situation of the Qing dynasty through the young Puyi. Unfortunately, things did not go as planned, and soon after, she passed away, never able to enjoy the control she had arranged. Cixi's death made Puyi think that his fate might change. But the reality was different. In the late Qing dynasty, many corrupt conservatives and feudal forces continued to support the imperial system behind the scenes, supporting Puyi. Their true intention was to use Puyi to further their own interests. And Puyi became a puppet in their hands. Thus, Puyi spent 3 years in the role of a puppet emperor. It wasn't until the Xinhai Revolution broke out that the Qing dynasty was completely overthrown, ending the rule of China's last feudal dynasty. Although the Qing dynasty was gone, the Forbidden City still stood, and the pro-monarchists still held some influence. To avoid violent conflict, the nationalist government decided to compromise and allowed Puyi and other royal family members to continue living in the Forbidden City, providing an annual allowance of 4 million taels of silver. At that time, 4 million taels of silver was an astronomical sum, and Puyi lived quite comfortably in the Forbidden City. In Puyi's autobiography The First Half of My Life, he recalls his unhappy childhood. In front of the ministers, he was merely a puppet, a tool for the conservative forces who sought to restore the monarchy. Although he was the emperor in the Forbidden City, his youth made him the target of mistreatment by the palace maids, who often bullied him, making it difficult for him to enjoy any dignity or respect. However, this unhappy period didn't last long. As Yuan Shikai's ambitions became more apparent, China's political situation grew unstable, and factional struggles intensified. Feng Yuxiang and Wu Peifu were two important warlords at the time. In 1924, the Second Jifeng War broke out, and Feng Yuxiang suddenly led his troops back to Beijing, leading to the collapse of Wu Peifu, the commander of the Third Army of the Zhili Army. Feng Yuxiang noticed signs of the revival of old forces and decided to take action. He sent a general to the Forbidden City, who, in addition to seizing much of the palace's wealth for himself, also expelled Puyi from the Forbidden City. This coup is known in history as the Beijing coup. From then on, Puyi's fate took a dramatic turn, and he began a long period of wandering. Later, in his later years, after receiving amnesty, Puyi was helped by the government to find work again. At first, he struggled to adapt to the drastic changes in his life, but as time passed, he found his rhythm and even got married. Having grown up in the Forbidden City, Puyi was very familiar with every tree and stone there. Every corner had its own unique historical story, and Puyi could recount each one in detail. In his spare time, he often took his wife to visit the Forbidden City, acting as a tour guide and sharing those fascinating historical tales. Puyi was a professional and engaging storyteller, and many people were drawn to listen to him. One day, while he was again showing his wife around the Forbidden City, sharing historical stories as usual, he suddenly noticed someone approaching. As the person came closer, Puyi's expression changed immediately. He appeared somewhat nervous, as there was some past history between the two. The man was Lu Zhonglin. In his youth, he was a down-and-out scholar who wasn't even worthy of serving Puyi. However, with the decline of the Qing dynasty, Puyi lost his position as emperor, while Lu Zhonglin's career began to prosper. He rose to become an important general under Feng Yuxiang. In 1924, Feng Yuxiang, dissatisfied with Puyi continuing to enjoy privileges in the Forbidden City and angry about the annual government subsidy of 4 million taels of silver to Puyi, decided to take action. With the outbreak of the Zhilifeng War, he sent troops into the Forbidden City to expel Puyi. The task of carrying out this mission was given to General Lu Zhonglin. The two men had a deep grudge due to this past event, and now, many years later, they would meet again. It was truly a moment full of emotion. As the saying goes, enemies meet, their eyes redden. Many might think that there would be a confrontation between Puyi and Lu Zhonglin when they met, but surprisingly, they did not quarrel as expected. Instead, Puyi walked over to Lu Zhonglin, and Lu, seeing the emperor he had once expelled, was filled with complex emotions. When they stood face to face and locked eyes, seeing each other's aging features, Puyi smiled faintly. It seemed as though his smile had eased the past grudge between them, and then he spoke, "General Lu Zhonglin, how are you? I never expected that we would meet again in this place." Lu Zhonglin felt a little embarrassed upon hearing Puyi's words, as it was he who had expelled Puyi from the Forbidden City. Nevertheless, he politely replied, "In the past, I expelled you from the Forbidden City. Today, I invite you back. I've already bought a ticket for you." Upon hearing this, Puyi paused for a moment, then laughed. Seeing Puyi laugh, Lu Zhonglin couldn't help but laugh along. The grudges from years ago seemed to dissolve in that moment, and they no longer seemed important. According to historical records, Lu Zhonglin, born on March 12, 1884, in Beilu village, Dingzhou, Hebei province, was a famous general from the Northwest Army of China. He held several key positions, including commander of the National Revolutionary Army's 9th Corps, Minister of Military Affairs, and chairman of Hebei province. He was also a member of the Nanjing Military Commission and was awarded the rank of Major General in the National Revolutionary Army. Lu Zhonglin's military career began in the Beiyang Army, where he became acquainted with Feng Yuxiang. He followed Feng for 40 years, becoming an important assistant. During the Beijing coup, Lu Zhonglin led his troops into Beijing, where they quickly took control of the city with little resistance, securing Beijing in just 3 days. On November 5, 1924, Lu Zhonglin, along with Regent Premier Huang, Beijing Police Commissioner Zhang Bai, and social figure Li Shizheng, traveled by car to Shenwoman. With 40 military police officers, they headed toward the Qing Royal Guard post at the Forbidden City. When the Qing guards saw the sudden appearance of the Nationalist Army, they were caught off guard and quickly disarmed. Lu Zhonglin led his troops through Shenwoman into the Forbidden City, reaching Longzongmen, the former site of the Grand Council. Soon, 2 ministers from the Imperial Household Department, Xiao Ying and Rong Yuan, arrived to meet him. Lu Zhonglin presented the president's order and the revised terms for the Qing royal family, demanding that they ensure Puyi accept these terms within 2 hours, abolish his imperial title and leave the Forbidden City, handing over all public and private property. After 2 hours passed and Xiao Ying had not made a decision, Lu Zhonglin threatened to bombard the Forbidden City. Xiao Ying requested an additional 20 minutes to make a final decision. Eventually, Puyi agreed to the terms and decided to leave the Forbidden City. At 4:10 p.m., Puyi, along with his harem and relatives, left the Forbidden City. In his memoirs, Lu Zhonglin recalled that Puyi and his entourage were transported in 5 cars, with Lu in the first car and Puyi and Xiaoying in the second. The rest of the group followed in the third and fourth cars, while Zhang Bai and others rode in the fifth. The convoy proceeded to the Prince Chun's mansion, the northern residence of the Qing dynasty. When the convoy arrived, Puyi got out of the car, and it was here that he and Lu Zhonglin officially met and shook hands for the first time. Lu Zhonglin asked Puyi, "Will you still call yourself emperor in the future, or do you wish to live as a common citizen?" Puyi replied, "Since I have already accepted the revised terms for the Qing royal family, I will naturally abolish my imperial title and live as a common citizen of the Republic of China." Lu Zhonglin responded, "Good. Since you are willing to live as a citizen, I, as a soldier, should take on the responsibility of protecting you. I will notify my troops to ensure your safety." Zhang Bai, who was standing nearby, joked, "Since you're now a citizen of the Republic of China, do you qualify to run for president?" With that, they shook hands and parted ways. Lu Zhonglin's former residence is located at 18 Dali Road, Heping District, Tianjin. The house was built during the Republic of China period and is a typical two-story British-style house with a brick and wood structure, a red-tiled roof, and a north-south orientation. The house has high steps and an arched gate, with a lush courtyard. The layout is both aesthetically pleasing and simple, giving off an elegant and refined feeling. Today, the building has been converted into residential housing. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.